Hey guys, so we got all the building blocks put together. We created the Ubuntu VM. We installed Apache, that was a straight package installation. We installed MySQL, that was a straight package installation. We configured MySQL so that it would be backwards compatible to, not backwards compatible, so that it would be compatible with the backwards version that we have of PHP. And we compiled PHP from scratch. Then we added the two DVDAF modules that are written in C and C++. We added that as PHP modules. We run into a few problems because, again, all these things evolve over time. We fixed those problems, and right now all these different pieces are working together. So what we're going to do now is pick up the different pieces of the website and amalgamate or put them together into the directory in the set of directories, or the tree of the site, right? So all these different files we kept in that share that we created in the first video. And the reason why I didn't bring them to the VM is because I don't want the VM disk to be too big. All right, bigger than it has to, because it's going to be very big already, right? So they are here. Oops. And you can see, let's make it human. You can see that the zip files are fairly big themselves. I don't know how much that is. That is, no, not the FPU. All right. So the zipped archives are about 170 gig. There are a couple other things in that directory which are not zipped archives, that are copies of the database. But, you know, obviously I don't want to use 170 gigs on the VM. That's going to increase my backup size. So I'm going to keep the archives on the share, and I'm going to expand them in the VM if it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, it's not that important. All right, so, and then where we're going to go, we're going to go into this download folder, which is, you know, it's where I do it. And then from here I move to where it should be in terms of the tree of the server itself. And I don't remember what the command is. History grep tar. And this is to make a tar. This is to unmake a tar. All right, so we are unmaking, and this is where they are. So I'm going to copy this URL to here, and we're going to pick the first archive, which is going to be this guy here. And that is the basis of the website. Like where most of the stuff, not most of the stuff. We'll see, you'll see. Right, so in the old server we had a different tree. In this one we're going to move things around a little. So everything expanded into this FilmAf directory. And I'm going to go there. Shouldn't have done this. All right. Because there may be some stuff that unzipping this as DVDAF is not quite going to pick up. So let me do that again as root. Okay. So I deleted that. I'm going to be root, and then I'm going to pain yes. history. Oh, do I have? Yeah. History grep tar. And this is how to expand it. Right, and it's going to be again in this folder. And this is the archive that we want. I'm going to go to... Alright, so you can see that some of the properties of the folders and so forth are different because I did this as root, and even though the owner of those folders is the same. I do not want lost and found. This had to do with the partition because we put this in a different partition, so it's just nonsense for now. I can clean up PHP errors. This is where we log the errors for the website. Right, so make that an empty file so that's not taking up space. And PHP info, the way we had this in the website, it was only addressable from different, from a specific set of IP addresses, so that was not a concern. I don't remember what cache it is. But apparently it is something. All right, so this structure we're going to move to the Apache tree. And the Apache tree is in another terminal. I think it's var what? Var, is it var local? Oh, var w HTML, that's where it is. So that's what we have. This is where Apache is. But this is the root of the server, if you will. So we're going to get this stuff and move it away. So I am going to home. I'm just going to move this to my desktop or to my documents. Okay. And can't move, permission denied. Ugh. All right, so let's try again. Okay, so now our Apache root is empty, and I'm gonna copy, not gonna copy, gonna move everything to there. Okay, so this should be empty. Oops, come on. And this should be full. Right, so we moved that. Oh. It's a directory. There you go. So we did this guy. The modules we did in the last video, that was the thing that we use in the compilation, the database. We did a couple of videos before that, right? And all of these OPs, these are all pictures. So I'm going to start with the O's, I guess. And I think I'm going to do all of them. Yeah, come on, come on, come on. All right, so that's the O0. You can see pictures. O1. You can see a shitload of stuff. O2. O3. Oh, empty directories did not make into this. That's going to be present a problem. We're going to have to fix that. 04, 05, 06. I don't remember what these are. We're gonna have to look at. So obviously these are pictures, and the way these go is these first digits here relate to the DVD ID. I think the next two relate to which whether it's a DVD or a film picture, and how many. Like a DVD or a movie can have several. This is a picture that was deleted, so maybe this is a picture that was modified. I don't know what this is. We're gonna have to find out. It's too much time has passed. All right, so that was 06, and we're gonna do. And I also don't remember why we have 00 through 06. We'll find out eventually. So now we're gonna do P0. Now P4 and P6, I'm gonna take a guess here, and I'm gonna guess that P0 is where the small pictures are. P4 is where the large pictures are, and P6 is where the original pictures are, meaning those that were submitted. But then why I have P1, 2, 3, I don't know. I'm sure there is a reason. And I'm sure they all need it. So the reason why they organize it this way is because when you have too many files in a directory, the directory begins to get slower and slower. So the way we solved that problem was to get the last 3 digits of the picture ID and create 1,000 directories in one folder. And then within each of those 1,000 directories, you would have all the pictures that end in those last 3 digits. So that's kind of like spreading the pictures somewhat equally within a directory structure and make the server more responsive. At least when we were doing this stuff, that's how we managed to, those were the problems we faced and how we managed to overcome them. I do not know what the technology is nowadays with, they have different file systems than we used at the time. So maybe that doesn't exist anymore. But that is the reason why it's a structure like that with an initial directory name that has some meaning which I don't remember. Then it has the last 3 digits of the picture, and then it has the file of the picture itself. So this is P1. And you'll be able to see by the size of the archives whether they have a smaller picture or a bigger picture. And as I recall, I don't think anything was thrown out. So even when a picture was updated, well, I don't know about updated, but certainly if a new picture was replacing an old picture, we would keep both and maybe only show the last one. But so we do P2, P3. All right, so these are all that we did, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, P 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3. Why we don't have 6 of the P's, I have no idea. They may be in a different zip file. Oh no, look at this. We have, the P4 comes after that. So obviously P4 is bigger because when Ulrich backed the site, he had to create more archives. So O means something and P means something. And then within O and within P, you have 0 through 6. And then within each of those, you have from 000 to 999. And then after that, you have pictures. And we're going to have to figure out what those are, because quite frankly, I have no clue at this point. So let's do P4. I want to see how big this is right now. All right. So right now it's only 25 gigs, which were from 00 through P3. Now that's about to start bigger. So this is P4 dash 000 Tor. Yeah, and when I think the larger pictures, the larger pictures were JPEGs, and the smaller pictures were GIFs. So obviously, not obviously, but the reason for that is because this was before PNG came about. So this is how old the website is. Or if before it came about, or at least before it became popular and had widespread support. So back then, you get better quality of the smaller pictures with GIFs and JPEGs. You could get smaller file size because you could customize the quality that you got out of it. So that's 100. So you can see how the backup was split up. So 0 to 99. So this is the first 100 of those 1,000 directories. Then the next 100, the next 100. So that's why you have 10 folders that begin, not 10 folders, 10 archives that begin with P4. And 10 archives that begin with P6. Now the way these pictures, if you remember, the way the site worked was people would upload something, and then there was an interface by which people could change the gamma, change the black point, the white point, rotate pictures, do a perspective transformation so that what was a, I think there was a perspective transformation, I don't remember, maybe there wasn't. Anyway, so all of that is recorded. So in principle, somebody can get the original pictures and apply the same transform that was used to create the displayed pictures. And for example, update the copyright notice or remove the copyright notice if they feel so inclined. That should be the case for the vast majority of the pictures. I'm not sure. There's probably in the very beginning, we may not have recorded that. So you would basically have to figure out what the transformation is again. But we should have original pictures as well as the final pictures for everything. And for the vast majority, we should have what is the transform that makes one into the other. And so you could just create like a batch file that does that automatically. And this is going to take a long time, apparently. Yep. So one thing that I was doing, for space reasons, I boxed up some of my collection, pretty much all of it. And so obviously that's not ideal. And they started digitizing it, like ripping it. And I'm using Make MKV to do that. And it's much more convenient to have it all in a server, but it takes a tremendous amount of disk to store that information. So I'm using, what's the name of the program? FilmAf. And you have basically two big solutions. One is FilmAf and the other is Unraid. The reason why I picked FilmAf is because it used the Z something operate disk system. But both of those, and it's also more performant. And in terms of how fast it can add data to disk. And what's the other one? Unraid has, you can create an SSD that serves as a cache, and then in the cache does the backup. It has works a way to work around it, but I thought FilmAf was a more straightforward approach to it. And they run in software RAID. So if you ever want to, rip your collection into movies that is, into disk as opposed to the physical media, that works. It's a lot of work to rip it. You have to have, I built a computer that has a bunch of DVD and Blu-ray drives, and I built it out of spare parts because I had a bunch of drives sitting around in different machines, and nowadays nobody uses DVDs or Blu-rays in a computer anymore. So those were just sitting around. So I put all of them in an old box and got them working. There is a piece of software, a combination of things called Automatic Ripping Machine, ARM, and it runs on Linux or Ubuntu. It works reasonably well. I had to patch a few things because it was really made to run one disk at a time, not a bunch of disks. And when it runs a bunch of disks, it gets confused when the disks have the same name or they have no name. And that is a major problem because, in some boxes, even though the disks are named, they have the same name for like disk 1 and disk 2. Or in a lot of the older titles, there is no information as to the name of the disc on the disc itself or what film it is. So, and you rip it, and then you run into a different problem, which is what comes out of the ripping doesn't necessarily have a usable title. And in many instances, it has a bunch of videos, but you kind of infer that the largest video is the feature, and then you have all these special features that come in separate files, and there's no way to know what those are. So I was thinking, well, if FilmAf was still up, what we could do was to keep the information of each of those files, what they are and what they should be called. And I think that would be awesome, because then when somebody rips a disk, they can somehow just have the files renamed appropriately, which means you have a directory that is the name of the movie, and then within that directory you have the feature properly named, and you have each of the special the supplementary materials properly named, whether it is a make-off or it's a music video or whatever it is, it all would be nicely named. And we could do that over time with enough people if people were ripping their DVDs, and that's easy to do based on size, right? Because if a file is, 564,000 bytes and whatever, chances are in that disk there will be no file of the same size, exactly the same size. So we could do that, but the website is no more, so I guess we can't. All right, so this should be the last of the P4s. So at this point we should have, you know what O could be? O could be a cache of the pictures that were sent to the picture server. That's probably what O is. So probably O is redundant. That's why it's so small. Because when we put this together, remember there was an application server that had the main pages. There was a database server, 2 database servers, and a picture server. And all the processing took place in the main server, and then after it was processed, we had to move those images to the picture server, and we kept a copy in the local server, right? It's a backup. So if one server went down, we would not lose the pictures. And O might have been what was in transfer or what had been transferred in the last few days or something like that. That's my guess. All right, so let's see how big it is now. All right, so right now is 99 gigs in pictures. And we've done O0 through 06 and P0 through P4. Let's keep on going. Let's do P5. So it should be about the same size, 170 gigs, because these are pictures and they are compressed pictures, right? Because both JPEG and I think GIF as well, they're both compressed formats. So when you compress something that's already compressed, you don't get much more compression out of it. So the expectation is that this would be around 170 gigs once we're done. Now all these directories, they have to be schmotted to the right what you call, to the right rights. And I guess we're gonna find out. In this video, we're just gonna assemble all the pictures, we're just assembling all these pieces together, and we're gonna make it into a tree for the site. And I'm not even going to test or anything. That's going to be the end of this video, and then I have to go do some other stuff. And the other thing we'll have to do as well is to configure Apache and configure PHP. Uh-oh. Disk full. So we got a disk full. That's weird because we had selected 400 gigs. Maybe, is it possible that my disk is full? The real disk is full? Oh. Crap, the real disk is full. All right. Remember, the fake disk has to sit someplace. Oh, you know why? Because the VM share sits in the same space as the VM, same physical drive. You have this being in the share, sorry, in the D drive, and you also have the VM using the D drive. So that's easy. I have this in I have this in my C drive as well. So I'm just gonna delete them from here. This, yes, permanently deleted. All right, deleting these, I'm going to my recycle bin and empty the recycle bin. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, so okay, is it what? Machine, pause. All right, it paused the machine, so we fixed the error and they continue. This is a very nice technology. What do you think? And the next one that we were going to do was the 200s. So let's do it. You can see over here, 0, 100, 200. It's almost done. It's just taking more disk than I thought it would. Come on, go back here. Close this. Okay, so that was 2. Let's do the 3. Just when you think you have enough disk. It's a good girl. And the 4s. These are all JPEGs. That is weird. I would expect to see some other formats here as well. Maybe just the majority are JPEGs. And oh, I saw something else pass by. So that's probably the original ones. Okay. Let's scroll up for a second here, see if... No, that's empty. Nope. Oh, this disk has 21 images. That's interesting. All right, let's go back to work. 5. And this is the size. It's taking 240 gigs thus far. So that was 5. Let's do 6. Where's my mouse? Run away. Here we go. It's not growing much now, even though we're doing a lot of pictures. It is growing. I don't know. I don't understand. Let's just get this done. There's only two more. This is 7, and you need 8 and 9. And then we'll move this to where they should be. And we will have a most of the files for the website set up. That was a 7. Oh, where am I? We're gonna do the 8. Let's see this. So that 240 might have been a watermark of something. And the reason why it increments slowly may be some other status of the VM. And the disk itself can't be resized backwards. Maybe it can, but I don't know how. So that's not too scary. So the reason why it's 240 probably is because at some point in time I copy more files than I should have to the VM. All right, this is the last piece. So when you're doing this, just make sure that you're not copying things you don't need. And if you do, make sure to move them out of the way or delete them, definitively delete them before empty trash. Empty trash. Before you expand your pictures, because otherwise you're gonna eat through your disk space. And I should have cleared the stupid recycle bin before we started doing this, but oh well. All right, so we copied everything and it remained at 240. So it's just a watermark of a previous disk usage that we had. All right, so these are the directories that we created. I do not know why these came as root. It doesn't matter because we'll make them all DVDAF. So let's go here. And we have, what I'll do is, let me go to, where am I going to go? ATC. What was the Apache ATC? Was var ATC? I don't remember. Where's my cheat sheet? No, certainly not here. That's old. No, that's the configuration. Keep moving. These people should have agreed on where things live when they started making out these distributions. Because I can't remember where each of them has what. All right, var ww, not etc. All right, that's where it is. So we're going to move everything to var etc HTML, right? So this is empty now, and this it has all those folders we just expanded with the pictures. Now that, in terms of files, should be like 99% complete. We may have to run some scripts that I need to find so that we create whatever directories are missing from here. And I'm gonna chmod this in order to to change the owner of this. In order to do that, I'll go to my root and I'm gonna say change owner to dvdaf, so .dvdaf of everything, and I'm gonna put a -r here to make it recursively. And it's doing its thing, and now it is still doing its thing because there is a shitload of files with all those pictures. All right, so now everything is owned by dvdaf. This may or may not be the way the server has to be, and when we bring it up, we may get some errors in the log files, and that will tell us if some of this needs to change ownership. Like if we had the production server up, we could cross-reference that. It would be easier to fix, but obviously that server is gone. And all right. 0, and then 01, and 02, 03, 04, 5, 06. All the directories seem to be there. P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. Yeah, all the directories seem to be there. And obviously I'm not reading all of this, but just noticing that all of them take exactly the same amount of screen. So that seems to have been a pretty successful backup. All the files are there. This is excellent because this is like high confidence that all the data, all the pictures, everything is in there. All right, catch you guys later. Bye.